Let us pray. Almighty God, the creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our actions so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria in general and Lagos State in particular. Amen. Good afternoon, distinguished colleagues. You are welcome to today's sitting. Let us go through the votes and proceedings of Monday, 16 September 2019. Page 43, page 44. I have examined the votes and proceedings of Monday, 16 September 2019, and approval is here granted. Any message from the governor?
Right, Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members, there is no message from the governor.
Any other announcements?
Mr. Speaker, sir, distinguished honorable members, I wish to announce the presence of 27 students of the Department of Political Science, College of Social and Management Sciences, Afe Babalola University, Ado-Ekiti, located at kilometer 8.5 Afe Babalola Way, Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State, led by Dr. Temidayo, David Oladipo, and Dr. Vincent Esson at the gallery to observe the House proceedings. That's all, sir.
Petition?
None, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Matter of other public importance? None. Personal explanation? No. Reports? Honorable Jimo.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, good afternoon. Precisely 38th of August to September 5th, we attended the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association African Region in Zanzibar, Tanzania. The theme of the discussion was electronic parliament, seamless platform for facilitating democracy. Several issues were raised from technological developments, i.e. how technology has embedded and be able to, to the new technology deepen democracy and incorporating public participation in what the parliament is doing. They also acknowledge the negative impact in which social media has also impacted on this development, and how to curb it. It noted that social media, through cyber crimes and some other fake news, this platform has also been used to propagate this evil design. So all the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association that were there were encouraged and advised to try to tackle this crisis that is haunting the predicament that is haunting the African continent. The issue of unemployment was also discussed, and a benchmark was set that Kigali, Rwanda, and Lesotho should be a benchmark for every African continent in respect of unemployment. How Rwanda and Lesotho have tackled the crisis of unemployment was also encouraged that also African countries should follow suit, i.e., how they could make use of agriculture in mopping up the youths that are high unemployment in every street of Lesotho and Kigali. We are also encouraged that we should follow suit. In the process of the conference, we had the news of the xenophobia that happened in South Africa, and it was extensively discussed, and entire South African parliamentarians that were there were apologized on behalf of the South African government. But there was a resolution from other parliamentarians from other parts of Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, and South Africa were specifically advised, and a committee was set up to meet with the leadership of South Africa, precisely Cyril Ramaphosa, who was part of the struggle of liberation of anti-apartheid in South Africa. And South Africa eventually was advised to learn how to live within the African continent rather than to occupy it. Mr. Speaker, I have the compendium of the report. A copy has been submitted to your office and the office of the clerk for further deliberation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mbadi.
Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I am one of the honorable members that attended to the invite of the Governor of Lagos State for his 100 days in office. Mr. Speaker, I find the activities at the 100 days in office ceremony so encouraging that I think that it has to be raised so that we commend the governor of the state upon the Yoruba adage that says "Nyeni nyeni, kale shemi." This is a governor that came in to power under some circumstances, and since he has been in office, he has continued in a stride that is very commendable. First, Mr. Speaker, this is a government that came in to meet series of infrastructural and environmental challenges. And within a space of 100 days, he has been able to prove his mettle that he understands governance and he has the capacity to deliver. Mr. Speaker, we know how Lagos streets were before the emergence of the current administration of the executive. And no sooner he came in, ideas were mooted and efforts were geared towards taking care of the environmental challenges, especially on refuse disposal. though it has not been completely solved, but there has been a tremendous improvement of what it used to be. Also, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of infrastructural challenges, our roads are not all good yet, but there was that effort that has yielded result in some areas where the works bureau has been assigned to take charge and do palliative in respect of some roads. Mr. Speaker, we have to also look at a situation where the governor of the state took his time to visit some projects which ordinarily in other climes and realizing change in governance will have led to abandon, but he pledges his commitment to deliver on all these projects on the principle of continuity in governance. He was at Imota, the rice mill, where he pledged that it has to continue, and some of the projects that would have been ignored because they were not initiated by him, he is making serious commitment to ensure that they are all completed. Mr. Speaker, also part of his 100 days in office achievement is the 4 billion naira commitment to indigenous business concerns under the arrangement of this Lagos State Employment Trust Fund committed to Lagosians to boost activities. Mr. Speaker, the list are many. The cabinet was also set up in record time to show that he is serious at delivering services to Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, within the time the governor came in, one would have expected that our serious government will have rushed to the House of Assembly for reordering or for supplementary budget. Mr. Speaker, it shows that the man knows his onion. He still continues to strive, doing projects and managing the finances of the state. It shows prudence on his part and it shows he knows what to do. Mr. Speaker, it is on this basis that I think that the House of Assembly, which is an arm of the government of Lagos State, he heads, we should be able to assess his performance within 100 days and give him kudos with a view to encouraging him to do more and giving him all that is required, that lot has to be achieved, but at least be able to do, which is the little that is so within 100 days, the courage he has put into it, and the dexterity of his administrative acumen, he has to be, commended. Mr. Speaker, this is I think I wish to raise for the House to take cognizance of, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Honorable Laiwala.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And my colleagues, I join the majority leader to congratulate our amiable governor on his 100 days in office. Equally, I was part of the delegates that went for the program, and all the good things that our governor did were mentioned, and these things are something that all of us can bear witness to. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, we can talk about the strengthening of the security architecture of the state. When he came in, we could notice that more vehicles and more patrol vehicles as well as motorbikes were purchased. We can also say that there has been a cordial relationship between our amiable governor and the security the state. And when we talk of environment, it's noticed that we have a clearing of drainage, and we can talk of launch of Blue Bus program that he has launched. And now, since I need to bring it to this August body that a few days after his inauguration, he has opened LKJ garden at Igodo. And we can talk of health, where we opened the mother and child maternity center at Etiosa. You can talk about salary, sir. Salary are paid as and when due. And there is an adage that says reward for good work is more work. We will just implore him that he should not rest on his hours. Ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ kọ́ lóníṣẹ́, ẹni tí ó bá forí tì dópin òun ni á gbàlà. So he should continue with the good work that he has started doing. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Naim.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First and foremost, I would like to salute the courage of the majority leader, salute his intellectual sagacity for bringing up this kind of issue today for the 100 days of office of our governor. First and foremost, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, is a listening governor. This is a governor that listens to everybody. If you move up to him and tell him your challenges, he will listen to you. Secondly, in my constituency, on the 3rd of September 2019, he commissioned Etiosa Maternity Health Center. In the history of Etiosa, we don't have anything like general hospital, we don't have anything like government hospital in my constituency. And I can say that we must salute his courage for completing that project and for commissioning that project. And again, in my constituency as well, there is a road in Moba community, which happens to be the road in late Honorable Alimi's locality. They've started the construction of that road, and it is going rapidly. And again, I want to say that when we raise the issue of environmental degradation in this House of Assembly, I want to say that he has immediately summoned his machineries to move around the state to start disinfecting of waterways within our locality. I want to say that he was one of the governors that came out openly to condemn the xenophobia issue in South Africa. And he even said that anybody that goes around to go and loot ShopRite, they should be arrested. And the young commander in my constituency came out during the town hall meeting and said about 108 people were arrested because of the looting in the ShopRite, and the governor came personally himself to visit the ShopRite in Sogotedo to see the level of looting. I want to say that I want the governor to continue in this kind of, and if you look at it again, during our town hall meeting, the governor directed all his commissioners to go around to compliment the honorable members in each of our constituency. I want to say that this is a synergy within the executive and the parliament. I want to say that the governor should continue in this kind of vein. That is a good start. Thank you very much, sir.
Lastly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleague, good afternoon. Let me lend my voice by first commending our dearable governor on the setting up of interministerial committee that look into all ongoing projects. Obviously, this shows that the governor know how to manage resources. Because if you look at what has happened in the last 4 years and what we are facing now, ordinarily a lot of projects have been abandoned. For him to have set up that committee to look into those respective projects, be it housing, infrastructure, and the likes, it shows that it's somebody that do not have any joy in abandoned projects. And secondly, Mr. Speaker, on the security issues, we appreciate him as well for his initiative and support for the Security Trust Fund. Having said that, we still want to ask for more, because security is not just limited about the infrastructure or architecture. It borders on personnel and availability of support. Many of those towns, communities in Lagos State now are in darkness because many of the street lights are not working. I was still wanting to look at that direction and do other things meaningfully well. Like our Honorable Jimo said the other time, we still have a lot of abandoned projects that border of millennium developmental projects that is affecting many communities in Lagos State. Once again, I commend him, and I commend the mover of that motion. God bless you all. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. When majority started, I was thinking, congratulating the governor, and at the same time to remind him of expectations of the people in Lagos Likewise, we, the parliamentarians, it's not out of place for the parliament to also recognize good work and commend, the governor who has started well. Well, I quite agree with you. He has started well, taking in so many things at a time. It's not an easy task, and besides that, some of us, probably because of our days in these solutions, do not conclude to judge, based on artificial or physical structure we see that an administration is putting in place. We relate this face-to-face with availability of revenue, how much expenditure that has been introduced in such projects. But this time around, we are talking about somebody who has just come in, and his case, almost of that eating ground running, from the little we have seen so far. And governance is all about listening to the people, giving people opportunity to participate, in deciding what will be. And that is exactly what we call good governance. Good governance is all about involvement of people in the activities of the government. And I'm sure we cannot take that away from this administration. We should see it as an avenue to encourage the governor that when these 100 days in office, people are watching. We ourselves are also watching. So to encourage him to do more. We don't really have that time. 4 years around the corner, so he must do more. We appreciate all he has done in 100 days in office. We commend him, and we want to reassure him that the House will continue to support his administration to achieve success at the end of the day. Well, we congratulate the governor for his 100 days in office, and at the same time we call on him, to do more. Negotiators are waiting and are watching. Mr. Clark, kindly forward, our letter to His Excellency, the Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. And before that, let me put it to my colleagues. If we are all in support of the position of the House, all in favor, say ayes. Those against, nay. The ayes have it. So, Mr. Clark, please do the needful. Thank you. Let me recognize the presence of 27 students of Departments of Political Science, College of Social and Management Sciences, Afe Babalola University, Ado-Ekiti, located at kilometer 8.5 Afe Babalola Way, Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State. We thank you for coming. You are all welcome. They are led by Dr. Temidayo David Oladipo. You are welcome, sir, and Dr. Fixet Eson. You are all welcome. We thank you for coming. Our Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, what we have next on the other paper is the presentation of report of the 9-man ad hoc committee charged with responsibility of looking at the environmental challenges in the state. The report was once presented. We adjourned for another allotted day for the report. Mr. Speaker, this is the second allotted day for that report. May I therefore move, Mr. Speaker, that this House dissolve to Committee of the Whole to be able to take the report to be presented by Honorable Moshood Olarewaju Oshun, Mainland, representing Mainland, for his report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Makinde.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I write to support the motion as well.
All in favor, say aye. Those against, nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Oshun.
The Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, good afternoon. This is the report of the 6-man ad hoc committee on environmental degradation in the state. Mr. Speaker, sir, can I seek your permission to start from page 8. The first 7 pages were what was presented on the first allotted date. We just wanted to add it, maybe if we need to refer to it in the course of the presentation. But for the third phase of the project, it starts from page 8. So with your permission, sir, I'll start on page 8. Thank you, sir. On the spot assessment of Canaan's third phase. On Monday, 26th of August, 2019, the ad hoc committee presented its report on the floor while members had extensive debate on same. Gray areas were identified by members, while Mr. Speaker thereafter ruled that the 6-man ad hoc committee should make further findings on the observation of members and to report back in 2 weeks. Further to this directive, the committee embarked on the third phase inspection tour of canals to Ikorodu, Ojo, Badagry, Aboru, Agege, and Igodo landfill sites in company of the following officials of the Office of Drainage Services and contractors handling the evacuation of the channels. Attendance: Engineer Johnson Eche, Director, Office of Drainage Services; Engineer WSS, Assistant Director, Office of Drainage Services; Engineer Ogunyemi Ene, Chief Engineer, Office of Drainage Services; Engineer Ogunko Akinola, Resident Engineer Ikorodu; Engineer Aminu, Resident Engineer Badagry; Otumba Balogun, Drainage Contractor; and Barrister Jola Odunaya. The committee embarked on the inspection tour on Friday, 6 September and Tuesday, 10 September 2019, and visited the following channels. Number 1, sir, Agric Ikorodu, Agbede Olunla channel. The dredging of this channel was awarded to Quality Sanctuary Services Limited. Dredging activities were seen carried out by Swan Buggy machine during the visit, while water was seen moving freely from the upstream in Odogun area to the downstream into the Majidun River. The level of work done by the contractor was 60% on the 4.5 kilometer length channel. Ebute Ibobo channel. Dredging work was carried out on this channel in 2017. Water was not moving freely in the 3.5 kilometer channel, which emanates from Ibobo Baiku and linked down to Majidun River. Dredging work is expected to commence on the channel in the 4th month of this current program, according to the resident engineer. The committee observed that the abattoir operators have encroached on the canal setback, while waste being generated from the abattoir is being discharged into the canal. Kokoro Abu, Onishigida channel, Adibaba. This is a 5.5 kilometer channel awarded to Quality Sanctuary Services Limited. It originates from the Lagos-Shagam Road through Igbe channel and finally discharged to Baiku Lagoon. There was refuse and vegetal growth on the canal during the committee's visit, and evacuation work is expected to commence in the 4th month of this current program, according to the resident engineer. The committee also observed a story building encroaching on the canal setback, which will cause hindrance to the contractors during dredging of the channel. Kokoro Abonishigida channel, Obafemi Awolowo Way, that's the other side of the same channel drainage. This channel emanates from Lagos-Shagam Road through Igbe channel and discharged to Baiku Lagoon. This channel has direct link with the Kokoro Abonishigida channel in Anibaba. The dredging work has been awarded to Quality Sanctuary and to commence in the 4th month. The committee observed indiscriminate dumping of refuse by the residents on both sides of the canal, which constitutes to the blockage of the canal as well as encroachment by artisans on the canal setback. Badagry Local Government Secretariat Channel, Tokpa. The dredging work on this 2.2 kilometer channel was awarded to Blue Ridge Marine. Dredging work was ongoing on the channel while water was seen moving freely through the channel to Badagry channel and finally to the lagoon. The level of work done on the channel during the committee visit was 70%. Joseph Dosu channel. This channel is a 6.8 kilometer channel carrying water from Itoga to the lagoon. Water was stagnant while the channel was also filled up with refuse and vegetal growth. The resident engineer to Badagry informed the committee that dredging work has been slated to commence on the 4th month of this current program. Porter channel, Olounda. This is 8.2 kilometer channel carrying water from Porter to Ologe Lagoon. Members of the Porter community informed that the urgent need of the community is means of passage from Porter community to other 10 neighboring communities across the river to boost economic activities between the communities. However, made appeal to the officials of drainage services to consider their plight and force them to appropriate government quarters for further action. Yanoera, Abule Odoera. The 7.2 channel carrying water from Lagos Badagry Expressway through Holy Trinity Church and finally discharged into the lagoon is presently filled up with silt and vegetation, thereby causing stagnation of water in the channel. Dredging of the channel is listed in the 4 to 6 program schedule, according to the resident engineer. Abulera Ilogbo Elegba channel. The length of this channel is 6.2 and it was recently dredged. The level of work done on the channel was 100%. Water was seen flowing perfectly during the committee's visit. Odo Tinrin Ilogbo Elegba. Capital dredging required on this channel and the channel has been turned into dumping site by residents. Dredging work on the channel is in the 4 to 6 program scheduled according to resident engineer. Alaba Agbo channel. This is a 2.8 kilometer channel expected to carry water from Akka Road, Abule through Alaba International Market. The channel is on the 4 to 6 program scheduled. Aboru channel. Aboru channel emanates from Lagos Abeokuta Express Road and discharged into Aituru channel at Ogun State. The channel spans 10 kilometers with a width of 50 meters and depth of 1.5 meters. The channel deflows Abule Oki community, Akinola community, Aboru community, Water community, Akpeki, Oke Shegun, Olubondu, Ayobo Ipaja, Ikola Odunsi. The contractors were met on site while dredging work was going on by the swarm buggy machine during the committee's visit. Igondo landfill site. The Haddock committee also visited the 2 dump sites along Glassway Sherry Road, following the directive of Mr. Speaker. The current state of the dump sites were appalling as emission of offensive odors are taking over the whole environment. Residents and business owners in the environment complain on the negative effect of the dump site, describing it as unhealthy and harmful to the health during the visit. The dump site was filled up with heaps of refuse, while compactors were seen parking on the roadside for hours, causing serious traffic gridlock on the road for other road users before they could dislodge their refuse. Attached annexes are the itineraries of work progress on channels by the 3 contractors across the states. We have at the back the program for the silting of all the channels. That's included at the back. Now, 60, observations, finding. Based on the submission and on-spot assessment of the committee, the following are the findings of the committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, the observation, if you look at the observation up to number 8, were the same observation we have for the first presentation. So I want to give you an agent to go to number 9, that will cover the next visitation.
Without the observations.
Sir?
Without the observations.
I didn't hear that, sir. I should rule it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so recommendations, sir.
Observation, you said observation.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want me to start from number 1, sir?
Okay, you said recommendation.
No, I said the observations from number 1 to number 8 covers the first visitation and the first presentation. So I was thinking, if I have your permission, to start from number 9.
No, that was 2 weeks ago.
Okay. All right, sir. Observations finding. The 3 contractors, namely J-Rain Engineering Services Limited, Blue Bridge Marine Services Limited, and Quality Sanctuary Services Limited, we awarded the contract of maintaining all primary, secondary, and tertiary drainage channels in the state. 2, the 3 companies charged with the responsibility of the sitting canals and drainage in the state are currently working rigorously on 60 channels across the 3 senatorial districts of the state. Number 3, the abolition of the Office of Drainage Services under the Ministry of the Environment by the past administration for 4 years attributed to poor monitoring and supervision of canals and drainages in the state. Number 4, the agency, LOMA, lacks some equipment to make it perform optimally, such as additional trucks, giant waste bin for markets and other high refuse generating areas in the state. Number 5, the street sweepers employed by the local government and local council development areas in the state should be encouraged by their employers to be more visible in the discharge of their duties. Number 6, the Olushosu dump site commenced operation in 1992 and will soon expire in 2022. Number 7, Need for the constitution of environmental sanitation bill before the House. Number 8, need for a law by the House to compel every household in the state to have a waste bin at doorsteps. Number 9, an office belonging to a TIOSA local government, Lekki admin office and yard was erected on part of the channel, thereby causing hindrance for clearing and desitting, as there is no access to enter that segment of the channel. Number 10, the major causes of blockage on most drainage are PET bottles, nylon, disposable plates and cups, which were indiscriminately dumped into drainages and canals after use by residents. Number 11, the committee observed series of encroachment on canal setback, causing hindrance in dredging the canals. Number 12, the committee observed in its recent visit of canals in the state that virtually dredging work were ongoing in the 3 senatorial districts across the state. Number 13, the Igbondo dump site along Glasu Ishedu Road is currently filled up with emission of offensive odors. It's currently filled up, while emissions of offensive odors are taking over the whole area, coupled with traffic gridlock caused by the compactors parking on the road. 7.0 recommendations. Based on the aforementioned findings, the committee wishes to recommend that, number 1, that the Office of Drainage Service do carry out monitoring on the activities of the contractors and ensure compliance with the contract agreement reached with the state government. Number 2, the state government do strengthen the present Office of Drainage Services for effective monitoring of canals and drainages in the state. Number 3, the state government should do more in equipping lawmen with necessary equipment such as trucks, giant waste bins for markets and other high refuse generating areas in the state. Number 4, that the local government and local council development areas do encourage their street sweepers to be more visible and seem to be performing their jobs in order to complement the effort of the state in refuse collection and disposal. Number 5, the state government should identify another dump site for waste disposal and management in view of the expansion of Olusosun dump site in 2022. Number 6, the state government should embark on rigorous enlightenment stroke sensitization through the Ministry of Information and Strategy on effective waste management by members of the public. Number 7, that the local government and SCDs in the state do carry out rigorous enlightenment sensitization of their residents on waste management in order to curb the habit of indiscriminate dumping of refuse on roadside and canals. Number 8, the House do expedite action on the passage of the Environmental Sanitation Bill to further enhance normal regulatory rules. Number 9, the House to pass a law mandating every household to have a waste bin at their doorsteps and also encourage sorting of waste from source of generation, waste to wealth initiative. Number 10, that the Lagos State government should only effect further payments to the contractor after satisfactory assessment and evaluation of the job done by the contractors, and they should be paid according to what has been done. Number 11, the contract awarded to the 3 companies should be reviewed in 2020 at the expiration of the contracts. Number 12, that the House do call on Etiosa local government to urgently remove its office annex structure on the canal at Aduro-Simieti to ease the evacuation of the canal by a contractor for free flow of water into the lagoon. Number 13, the collaboration of the state government with manufacturers stroke industries on reimbursement of stipend to consumers of their products on return of empty bottle cans, which are the major causes of blockage on canals and drainages in the state. Or the state government should impose tax on the manufacturers stroke industries to further cushion the effect of huge amount of money spent by the state for clearing canals and drainages. Number 14, that the Office of Drainage Services do collaborate with Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development with a view to carrying out the assessment of approval of those structures along the canal alignments. Number 15, the state government to carry out sensitization and enlightenment of the resident through the Ministry of Information and Strategy on proper management of waste, and to also create an avenue where residents will have access to phone numbers and addresses of law enforcement agencies on environmental sanitation, where defaulters can be reported for violations of environmental laws for prosecution. Lastly, that the government do look out for alternative dump site for Igbondo, considering the negative effect of pollution emanating from the dump site on people's health, and so the traffic gridlock associated with the area. 8.0 appreciation. The committee expresses gratitude to the Right Honourable Speaker and members for the opportunity given now to carry out this assignment. Appreciation also goes to the Clerk of the House and the Secretariat who contributed to the successful completion of this project. Signed, Oshun Emo, Lagos Mainland 2. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Desmond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hereby move that the report be adopted for debate.
Honorable Council.
Second, the motion is moved.
If you second, you rise.
I rise to second the motion.
You have not said anything. Put on the mic.
I said I second the motion as moved.
All in favor say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Who has the light? Honorable Lowo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my colleague. Good afternoon. Mr. Speaker, this is the second allotted day for the ad hoc committee on the same issue. I will go through what they've done so far and the attachment we have. With Mr. Speaker, without wasting much of our time, I would just want to crave the indulgence of my colleague to allow us to adopt the recommendation of the committee as the resolution of the House. Thank you.
Honorable Bravo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to differ from what my brother just said. With due respect, Mr. Speaker, and with special appreciation to the resilient efforts of the chairman and the members of the other committee on environmental degradation. Mr. Speaker, one is very worried because this is coming in coincidence with the just concluded stakeholders conference with the same team on environmental challenges. And when we encountered our people, engaged them, and we heard what they said with so much passion and vehemence about the degradation of the environment, one could not but be moved and to say that it is may be necessary for us to enlarge the life of this committee to tackle some of these things. In my own constituency, Mr. Speaker, the system 1, from Odoyalaro to Alakpere to Goodluck to Mile 12 to Wode to Ajegule.
Is it not mentioned in this report?
They are not mentioned at all, and there's nothing being done there, Mr. Speaker. Nothing being done at all. Agility people, Sherry North people, they have been sacked from their homes.
So the Odoyalaro is clear.
Mr. Speaker, Odoyalaro is not actually my constituency, anyway, it's constituency 1, but that's where it starts from. Maybe they started and ended it in Odoyalaro. They did not move to Alakpere. They did not move to Ogudu. They did not move to Owode Oniri. They did not move to Ajegule. They did not move to Agility. They did not move to Sherry North. Mr. Speaker, a lot is still to be done about this thing. And again, Mr. Speaker, when we say they have worked, if Mr. Speaker will read through items number on page 8, where Mr. Chairman enumerated performances on areas by areas. If you look at it, I was taking and crossing here, I could only take one that was actually done. Some were partly done, and the rest were not done at all. I could only take one. Only one was done, 100%.
In all what we have on this list.
Yes, from on page 8, from pages 8 to page 10, to page 11, Mr. Speaker, they only did one. Only one did one satisfactorily. They didn't do anything much that can be appreciated. Mr. Speaker, we need to courageously look into this contract. If they cannot perform this task, we should be courageous enough to ask for the revocation of this contract. When we say we will review it in 2020, what that review means, I am yet to understand. Is it to terminate it? Because we have to be courageous. Government is not run by sentiment. It's run by courage, sir. We cannot, this thing is so important to us because if we heard what our people said on last Wednesday, one will know that we need to buckle up in terms of environmental challenges.
Though the chairman will answer your question.
Yes, sir.
But I'm very particular about the statement you made that in all we have from the committee chairman,
yes, sir,
almost about 15 of them.
Yes, sir.
Only one
Yes, sir.
has been cleared.
Mr. Speaker, number one, Agri-Kokorodu Road. They said that one was done up to 60%, half mark. Number two, sir, Ebute Bogokana, 0. They didn't do anything. Kokoro Abu, Onishega, nothing. They didn't do anything. Kokoro Abu,
Okay,
Onishega.
you are basing your judgment on the reports of the committee.
On the report of the committee, sir.
Okay.
The report of the committee, sir. From the report, they only did maybe some halfway, many undone.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, sir, just one last thing before I quickly round up, sir. I would like to suggest that since we now have the ODS, the Office of Daily Services, back, we have to be courageous to use our machineries, and if this contract is going to be dragging like this, we should dispense with it, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable Olumo.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to go in line with Honorable Braimon, because Braimon, sir, I want to be in line with him. I think the committee needs more time to do more job, because if we go in line,
we will use the old night assembly to follow them.
I'm saying this, sir, because in my constituency, nothing has been done. System 5 is about the largest in Lagos State. Honorable Wahab has also complained severally about this particular system. It starts right from Koka Aguda in Surulere through Ajeromi Felodun, Apapa Egomu, and that place is anything that I can use anything to qualify it. Our people in that area, they are suffering. Rain fell yesterday. I got so many pictures of people that have moved out of their house just because of yesterday's rain. I think the committee need to do more, sir.
Which house are you talking about?
Houses in my area, sir, flooded.
Well, if we say houses, I don't know the type of houses you are talking about.
Houses in Najegule, sir.
But you know, that's what I'm asking. It's all right.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Honorable Agumbiade.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I want to commend the committee for the commitment put into the job assigned to them within the stipulated time. Mr. Speaker, the issue of environmental challenges as regards canals and drainages is so rampant in the state, and it attracted the concerns of our people during the last stakeholders meeting. We cannot but just look into this critically. Mr. Speaker, we have to condemn in strong terms the idea of the last administration as scrapping the office of the drainage services. Is that you give some people, you give a work to a contractor and you remove supervision, because that office will have monitored the contractors. I want to believe that these contractors are just running back to site when the House of Assembly set up this committee to monitor what they have done. Obviously, they are saying the job will be done in the third quarter in April. It shows they have not done anything in those areas. And of course, the drainages are so many in our areas. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that while we are saying that the recommendation that the Office of Drainage Services do carry out monitoring of activities of the contractor, that is recommendation number 1. How can such office carry out when that office has been scraped by the last administration? We must call for reintroduction of that office first and foremost before they can be able to do this job that should be assigned to them. So I think the recommendation should be that the Office of Drainage Services should be reintroduced to carry out monitoring activities of the contractors. Mr. Speaker, across the state on Wednesday, our people called for introduction of sanitary inspectors. I am aware that the Ministry of Environment has created something like environmental corps to replace the sanitary inspectors. What is important is there must be people to be going about the various community, the streets and crevices of the state, to ensure that people adhere strictly to environmental laws, whichever name we want to call it. But we feel that these sanitary inspectors or environmental corps should be reintroduced to further monitor what goes on in the various communities. Mr. Speaker, I also want to say that why is that we have the standing committees of the House in place, this committee should take over from what the other committee is doing. The issue of the environmental challenges are things that should be continuous. But since we don't have that yet, Mr. Speaker, I want to lend my voice to the call that the activities of this ad hoc committee be extended. For the short time they have acted very well, and they have helped in revealing this to the House of Assembly. We give them more assignment to do so as to cover those areas concerned. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Makinde.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The committee, they've done their best within the time frame. One thing I want to really highlight is that most of the taxpayers' money we are spending is being based on our negligence or our aptitude to the environment. If you go to number 10, the nylon bottle you find on the canal is being deposited by the resident, and when there is rain, all these nylons and bottles will block the drainages, and then the water will now be flow over into the resident area. At the end of the day, the same set of people will come up and be, condemning the government, whereas it's our act that's led to all this hardship. Two, if we go to number 13, the odor and all sort of hazardous emission from this dump site need to be thoroughly, understudied through the environmental impact assessment. We want to see the health effect on the people living around the Godo and other dump sites, so that the government will know the kind of health education and other effects that this emission has caused on our people. A lot of people are being found in our hospitals. At the end of the day, you will be finding things, typhoid and all sorts of things. All these diseases emanated from these dump sites we have across the state. So the state government should embark on serious environmental impact assessment to really know the effect that these dump sites are causing to the people living around the dump site. Thank you very much.
Honorable Jibo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, the committee has tried. The report is acceptable, but with exemption of System 5, I don't think we are going to get adequate results from this. Why I'm saying this, the System 5 virtually covers the whole of Lagos Central, including some part of Lagos West, which is Robbie Fellow and some other part of Lagos. And if this is exempted from the report of the committee and nothing is done on the System 5, which is the largest of all the canals in Lagos, that eventually leads to the lagoon, I don't think we are going to get adequate result on this. And if we look at it correctly, and it's agreed that the System 5 is the major and the biggest of all the canals that links to the lagoon, and it's nothing is being done on it, how do we expect all other System 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are connected to the System 5, eventually to the lagoon, to have free flows of water to the lagoon? So, Mr. Speaker, it's a disservice. I'm raising this because the entire Apapa constituency 2, including Surulere constituency 2 and 1, is being surrounded by this System 5. And it has not been touched, Mr. Speaker. I'm surprised the chairman of the ad hoc committee is also from Lagos Central. He is also affected by this. I don't know why the System 5 is not incorporated as part of the assignment that was given to the committee. Mr. Speaker, it won't be out of place if the assignment of the committee is being extended for a week or two in order to incorporate System 5. In fact, if the outcome of the environmental issues in Lagos is being assessed, it will be a glorious congratulations, not only to the House, even to the Honorable Speaker. But I'm aware, Agege, something is being mentioned severally here. I don't know whether the chairman of the committee is being partial. He wants to satisfy the interests of the Speaker. He wants to satisfy the people of Agege. Because Lagos Central is paramount to this thing we are discussing. System 5 is the largest of all the system, and it needs to be addressed with serious attention.
Honorable Naim.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to thank the chairman and the committee for a job well done. I want to go to page 13, line 12, that talks about that the House do call on Etiosa local government to urgently remove its office annex structure on the canal at Durosimi Eti. Mr. Speaker, sir, this morning while I was coming to the office, I actually branched as this location that they're actually talking about. First and foremost, what they have there is not even structure at all. What they have there is just only container, which happens to be their area office. Now, they say they apply for the land through Newtown Development Area, which actually they give them the land to make use of the land. Now, what I want to say in essence is that they are not blocking waterways. After that road seam 80, where they are saying that it's blocking water, is actually linking from that road, linking to Oriental, linking to that water, that lagoon within that axis. So it's not blocking waterway at all. Now, I want to say that even if it's blocking waterway, there should be an evidence here to show to everybody that is actually blocking waterway. And I've gone through all their pictorial evidences here. There's nothing like the Etiosa local government blocking the waterways. We'll have seen the picture. Everybody will have seen that they are not even blocking the waterways at all. I want to say that they should look at this issue critically before a decision will be taken. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Satonji.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Chairman, I want to really appreciate the committee for a job well done. However, I want to emphasize the fact that the challenges we are having on our roads today is caused by lack of drainage maintenance. The number one cause of failure of road is drainage. And if our canals are not cleared properly, there will be problems. So that's why I really appreciate the committee for going back to some of those canals, those areas. But I noticed a number of issues that I mentioned here. The contractor was awarded in 2017, and we are in 2019. The contract is yet to be completed. It demonstrates that the contractor actually failed. If not because of this committee that was set up to look after or to perform oversight over their activities, those talents would have been left undone. So that contract actually, the contractor did not do well from my own assessment. And I believe the issue of the recommendation number 11 that says the contracts awarded to the three companies should be reviewed in 2007 is not, to a great extent, is not good enough. They will have, I want to follow what Honorable Bravo said, that the contract should actually be determined because the contractor did not perform well, from my own observation. Then on the area of blocked channels, there are so many properties that are constructed on drainage channels, and those are one of the challenges we have in Lagos State. That during their observation, they mentioned the Lekki admin office, just like my colleague was saying. That area is actually on drainage channel and supposed to be removed for us to have free flow of traffic. I'm sorry, of runoff on those areas. So the little observation I've seen is that there are still some areas that needed to be touched, especially in my own area too. Although the committee visited the area that we mentioned during the last sitting on this thing, which has to do with Badagry, but there are still some other areas that are yet to be touched. So I believe strongly that these contractors did not do well as far as this project is concerned. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I equally credit the committee for the job well done. Mr. Speaker, if page 9, the committee observed that there was a story building encroaching on the canal setback, which could cause hindrance to the contractor during the dredging of the canal. Mr. Speaker, they did not mention what to do to this story building. So also we have a lot, like Honorable Setonji said, that most of canal in Lagos State are being blocked by one way or the other, and there is a policy that at least there must be a setback, about 50 meters setback. But when you get to all these major canals, you see they have built right into the canal. I think we should take a drastic action against the owner of this property by removing them. I think the recommendation should be made that all buildings found on the canal setback should be removed if we are to enjoy the free flow of water. Thank you.
Honorable Son.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much. And I also want to thank the committee for, if not for anything, the report has been very revealing and eye-opening. Mr. Speaker, if we look at the vehemence, the intensity, and the weight with which our constituents complained about, environmental degradation, we will be left with no other word than to say our situation is worrisome and it is pathetic. I want to draw your attention to page 11, where it was reported that the three companies saddled with the responsibility of desilting canals and drainages in the state are currently working rigorously. That work rigorously is, calls to question. Because in my constituency, Koshofe Constituency 1, the only canal, attended to is the System 1 Odoyalaro. Others, nothing has been done so far. So I wonder which rigorous work they have done, the contractor have done. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to actually give it a harder look. The idea of three contractors working on the entire canals and drainages in Lagos State, we need to give it a harder look. It appears to me self-serving and somewhat mismanagement. We should look at it very, very, we should give it a harder look. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Saka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I quite agree with the submission of the committee and I give kudos to them. But based on that, I believe in the areas where they said the quarterly basis of the system of evacuating the drainages and canal. We are in the next 2-3 days. We'll be in 5 days. We'll be in the last quarters. Which quarters have they performed creditably? That giving them kudos. They have not done anything. Believe me honestly. If you look at the budget 2017, 2016, 2018, precisely 3 canals in my constituencies is being mentioned there. They, at the time, they said we should wait. They called the cabbage, they called the Palace River and the Bailess, and up to today, they have not visited the place. And preventions, my brothers also made mention that in line, number 11, that the 3 contractors have done well. Page 13, that have done well. 3 contractors to cover Lagos State canal drainages. Mr. Speaker, they need to review it. There's nothing wrong. My own suggestion, there's nothing wrong having 20 contractors in 20 local government in Lagos State, so that they will be able to cover effectively and efficiently in order to evacuate these drainages and canal. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Wow. Honorable Jude.
Thank you, my dear Speaker and my colleagues. I also want to appreciate the ad hoc committee led by the chairman for the work done. However, sir, I see this as a temporary measure, sir. I appreciate you at least for setting up the committee, the ad hoc committee, with this revealing aspect we are getting. But sir, if the House doesn't mind, I think it's better for the state, especially now that maybe in the next few months they'll be talking about 2020 budget, to look at this thing holistically so that there can be a better plan concerning drainage, canal draining, and even the waterways. Today, Lagos is submerged almost, in the sense that the climate change is affecting everything. But if they can start now and plan towards how they can drain the canal in a long period, if they need assistance of the federal government to assist them in terms of funds, so that we can start now before it gets too late. Sir, that is just my position. Thank you very much.
Chairman, do you have anything to say to all this?
Yes, sir. And I must thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity again, sir. Number one, I'll start with Honorable Tunde Braimo, who said nothing has been done. Well, I don't know what he has based his assumption on. We have some photographs attached to the reports, and if you look towards the photographs, some of the areas he mentioned, we actually took photographs because he spoke about Koshofe, and although it's not numbered, we have the dredging of Bagada, Asholu, Ichane, Koshofe. I want to assume that's the Koshofe. We have the ongoing dredging of System 1, Dodoya, Laro, Idojota. He spoke about that. In as much as I want to agree that we still have a long way to go. Before the beginning of this tenure, the Office of Drainage Services was actually taken out of this contract. It was the Executive Governor of Lagos State that actually brought them back. And that is why they sat down with the contractors and they have a schedule. So for every 3 quarters, they've given them where to work. The first quarter is from July to September, which is going to end, and that's what they've done. And again, sir, if you look at the back, we have the schedule given to them to work on, which has been attached for the first quarter. The second quarter, which is going to be October to December, has just been given to us today. We couldn't attach it today to this report because it came in this morning and we couldn't do the photocopy. But the copy has been given to us. But they are actually following the schedule given to them by the Office of Drainage Services that was actually brought back at the beginning of this tenure. So that nothing has been done, well, I want to disagree with that. The issue of contract termination, like I said, a contract was given to this company for 3 years, which expires next year, and that was why the committee recommended that after the expiration of their contract, the state should review the contract. And that could be giving it to 80, 100, 200 contractors as it suits the state, and that will be effective. But we are saying if they have a contract, we should honor it because Lagos State is an honorable state. So really, on that, I'll leave it to the House to decide. And on the issue of the schedule done, that can be given to all members for the whole year because we now have a copy of the schedule done for the whole year given to this contractor. So which means that the ones done for the first quarter, they'll be doing another one for the next quarter. Another one will start in January to March. But a schedule has been drawn by the Office of Drainage Services under Ministry of Environment, and it has been given to this contractor. That's Honorable Braimo. Honorable Lumo, he spoke about System 5 and he spoke about Coca-Cola. Unfortunately, some of the pictures we have Coca-Cola too. So I'm really surprised. We have Adibu here in Feludu, because he spoke about Adibu and Feludu. We have the picture of what they were doing, we have the during, and we have the after, which was done. So, in as much as everything has not been done, but that they are not doing anything, I don't think. What we saw is what we are going to report. And I can't report what happened last year. But since the session of this committee, I can only report that. Honorable Agunbiade, that the issue of the service should be introduced. I'm happy to tell you that they've been introduced. They are now working with them. And they are the one even controlling and looking at what they are doing now. That was stopped by the last administration. But they are back now, and they are actually in control.
They are the one telling them what to do and how to do it. And they are the one inspecting what they've done. And they are the one that will write the report, which is how they will be paid. If they don't do it, if they do it to the satisfaction of that office, they will be paid.
But they've been brought back into this field now. Honorable Makinde, nothing. Honorable Jimon spoke about System 5. I can tell you for free, like you said, I'm from Lagos Central too. System 5 is going to be fully covered in the next schedule, which is from October to December. Because it links the whole of Lagos. They want to clear the small ones so that by the time they clear the big one, it will be ready to accept the small ones. And that was why it's in the second schedule. So I'll send the schedule that was given to us this morning. It was just sent to my office this morning. And that was why I couldn't actually include it in the report. But that can be given to you. I'll send that to all members' office. Honorable Noim spoke about it. Just SCD's office. Sir, I can tell you authoritatively that there's an office on that land. The place was concretized and there was a small office built on it. But under that concrete, we have a drainage that cannot be cleared. So if you go into Lekki Phase 1, towards the end of Lekki Phase 1 on Lekki H, you see the office. It's there. I will ask the secretariat. We took the photograph. We have the photographs. I'm surprised the photo is not here. But there's an office. And they accept. And that is the same office that links the gate of Lekki Phase 1. So if you are going to Lekki Phase 1, if you look on your right, you will see the office there. It's on the drainage. It's on the drainage. It's definitely there. And you have the picture. I'll give you the picture. Maybe you went to the wrong place. But it is there. Honorable Setoji, drainage in Badagry. Well, Honorable Setoji, the first time this thing was given, the report was read, you gave us some places to go. And I'm happy to tell you that we went there. And when I was going, I actually called you. You gave us somebody to go with us. And in the process, one of the places you complained about, the whole community said drainage is not their issue. What they need is a road to link about 10 communities, which is in the report. There is a bridge, a plank bridge, that is almost going down. And it's cutting off about 10 communities from the city. And they told us what they needed is that road to be fixed. There is a signpost there that says a contract was given about that road some 6-7 years back. We have some concrete on the floor, but it was not done. So what they need there on that particular one we are talking about is not even drainage, it's the road. The road is gone. And I want to implore you as the only member representing them, you can assist to do the big road. So, but about the contract cancellation, I've answered that. That is left for the House and the government. It's left for the House to decide. Honorable Issue, building on canals. Thank you very much, sir. And I'm sure we actually spoke on that. And that was why we said, I think recommendation 14, that the Office of Daily Services do collaborate with the Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development with a view to carrying out the assessment of approval. Because we realize that some buildings were on canals and drainages. But what we are not sure is, do they have approvals? If they do, give the approvals. And that was why we said the Office of Daily Services should work with the Ministry of Fiscal Planning to look at the approval. If they don't have approval, if they are encroaching on this, then the houses should go down. Like I said, we have a place, an abattoir in Ikorodu, that is actually on encroachment of the drainage. And everything, all the waste of the abattoir is going into the drainage. And we told them. So all encroachment should go. But firstly, they need to work with the Ministry of Fiscal Planning to make sure that do they have approval, who approve the buildings. If they don't, by all means, we can't satisfy one person and the whole community will be suffering. So one or two buildings has to go. The same happens in Honorable Tijani's constituency. We have a very beautiful building on a drainage. And another place, we have a church on a drainage. So really, but we ask them to work with the fiscal planning and seek the approval of those buildings. If they don't have approval, then they should go. Honorable Sonny, all the System 1 was done. Then define rigorous. Well, when I say rigorous, the first time we went out, we saw some bodies working. But by the time we went out the second time, they were everywhere, they were working. I could follow the schedule given to them by the Office of Daily Services. And that's my definition of rigorous, because I could see them working. But it does not mean they can't do better.
it does not mean they are the best for the job. So really, but sister, like you said in Koshofe, we have some pictures. If you look at the back, we have some pictures attached for works being done in Koshofe. Honorable Saka, schedule by daily services. Well, I think that has been answered. The schedule was done by daily services, and they are following the schedule. More contractors. Definitely, I agree with you, and that was why I said the contract needs to be reviewed and expanded. Lagos is a very big state, and we are below sea level. We need more jobs to be done. So definitely, I think it should be reviewed. When I say review, it's in our recommendation that the contract should be reviewed. I think we want to be very good at this. I'll leave that for the states. I think that is it, Mr. Speaker. I think I've answered the question as best as I can, sir.
Well, it's like we are having conflicting views from the members and the chairman of the committee. Why the committee has reported that the canals have been cleared. Those who are the representatives of these areas are claiming not to have seen anything done. Unfortunately, the pictures attached to this, some of them are not clear to buttress the position of the chairman of the committee. And the essence of extending the period of assignments during the last presentation was to accommodate all the canals and channels around us so we can establish the fact of what have been done in all these canals. Besides, the contract issue was also major, part of the assignment, to look at the contract and the way and manner with which the contracts were awarded and to the beneficiaries and what they have done up to this period. If actually, from what I have here, July 2017, at this part of the contract on page 3, payment to the contractors. Payment to the contractors. I'm asking the chairman.
Yes, sir.
If what we have here is up to date.
Yeah, what we have on page 3, sir, is the payment so far. The contract was actually awarded in July 2017, and we actually attached the letter of award. And if you look on page 16, sir, we have one of the letter of award. It was awarded on the 17th of July 2017. And July to December, what the money they got was what we listed. And July to December on page 3. The contract was awarded on the 17th of July 2017. That's on page 16. We have the 3 letters on page 16. It has 16 and 15 written on it. That's the notification of award. We couldn't attach the agreement, the whole contract, because it's bulky. But we have the notification of award attached to the report.
So according to the letter, they are being paid monthly.
No, they should be paid according to the letter. The first payment they should get was they should be paid it was 3 years. Let me pick one. I'll pick sanctuary, quality sanctuary. It says advance payment of 35% was to be paid initially. Then completion period at 6 months. The first payment here on page 3 was the advance payment, but they were supposed to be paid 1.2 billion for the year.
For the whole year?
For the whole year, sir.
So we've not finished paying up to this?
No.
And they've not completed the contract?
No. For that year that we should pay 1.3, all we paid was about 600 or 500. Over almost 600.
So since 2017?
In 2018, they got 349 against 1.2. In 2019, they didn't get anything. So up to date, they've not gotten anything.
Well, I think from this, it shows that the contractor is working based on what he gets from the states.
Yes.
So there's no way we can conclude that he has done or performed his tax adequately. Yes. So I also want to believe it was because of the observation raised by the House that led to turning, going back to the.
I totally agree.
To the sport. So we can't conclude that they have done, because if a contract has been awarded since 2017 and we are in 2019 September and it's still dragging, so it shows that, you know, we can't really, you know, conclude that the contractor has performed as stated. And reviewing the contract, the way you put it, is not suggesting that the contract can be terminated or otherwise. Well, I'm just saying they should review. I think our position, we should have a particular position in this report on that recommendation.
Well, our position is that since the contract, it was a 3-year program and it's expiring next year, the committee felt that, and since we are now monitoring them, the Office of Doing Services is now on top of the game, because for the first 2 years there was nobody monitoring them. That was the truth. But now that the state is on top, when this committee was asked to go and work, and in collaboration with the drilling services, I think a lot has been achieved, sir. But because of the backlog, it's going to take some time, sir.
Of the work.
It's going to take some time for it to start showing. But that they've not done anything in the last 3 months. I think they are back on in many places. So I want to assume that if we continue with the way the Office of Doing Services is working with them, because anywhere you see them now, you see a staff of Office of Doing Services. The Office of Doing Services has now given them an engineer for each site. So there's somebody monitoring them, watching them, taking pictures, making sure they even use the right equipment. Because there's a place they went to with a small machine, and the office told them how hard that this will not work, they should take it back and bring something else. So there's somebody on top of them now, making sure they do the job the way it should be done.
Okay. Now, to Honorable Brahma, Honorable Jimo, and Sonny, from the chairman's explanation, are you now convinced that job have been done in all these places you mentioned?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, please permit me to just say that the attitude of contractors in Lagos State holding the government to ransom, saying that if payment is not made, they will not perform the contract, is illegal and wrong. Mr. Speaker, the ingredients of the contract are offer, acceptance, and consideration. The payment can come at any time in accordance with the term of the contract. If the paper read by my brother said that that person will be paid after the advance payment, another one within 6 months, and 6 months the contract should be, then why will you say until you are paid you will not perform the contract? Let's look at the truth is that nothing has been done. I can still continue to say that, and we need to, though the committee has been assiduous and had been prompting the people to work, maybe you can give them some time more, sir.
Maybe I'm not willing to extend any, I'm not willing.
Because the system has been working, the way they are prompting them little by little. Do something.
From the report of the chairman, the other chairman, he said by October they will move into the system 5. Let's wait to look at the seed of future to see the one that will germinate and the one that will not germinate till October then.
So who determines where to go and work? That is the question. The contract was awarded with consideration to clear all the canals. So who is now determining where to go?
Lagos State, the Office of Doing Services, has given them.
What should they put into consideration, before giving go ahead to particular area?
The PS, Office of Doing Services, engineer. The PS said what they've done is they've looked at the old system. Engineer Shodende, they've looked at the old system, and we have some major canals, some big canals, and they feel that they need to start looking at how to walk into that canal. So, sir, if you look on, there's no page. We have something called maintenance of primary, secondary, and tertiary drainage channels, second month work schedule.
what they've done is they've given them 3 months to work with. And as at this morning, we've got the whole year schedule. But now, the person that is determining, that is directing, that is supervising this job now is the Office of Drainage Services. So it's out of the contractor's hand. They can't just decide that they want to go to any drainage or any canals. They need to work in accordance with the state. How the state finds it, how the way one state thing is important is what they are doing now. So it's out of their hands now compared to maybe what happened in 2017 or probably 2018, which I don't know. But now, the Office of Doing Services is now on top of the game again. They are the ones supervising and directing the show now, as instructed by the governor.
Let's look at the recommendation and so which we can accommodate and which has to go. I don't think recommendation 1 is necessary. It's the function of the office, so we don't have to remind them of what to do. 3 also depends on lawman's law. We have just amended the law, and we need to look at, I think, with the improvements in refuse disposals, lawman should be an independent agency, considering its activities with the PSP. So, eight and 9 in environmental law, I think we should have something similar to that for the agencies, and the 8 and 9.
Yes, sir. I want to agree with you that 9 can go, but the 8 is actually a law before the House, and I think it's just in order for it to remain. Sir. But we can take 9 out. That can be incorporated.
Then if we have one before, the 8 should go to.
Okay, sir. 8 go, 9 goes. Sir.
Eleven also should go. And I think 14 is not adequate enough, the way it's couched, that the Office of Drainage Service to do collaborate with the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development with a view to carrying out assessment of approval. Assessment of approval or no approval, there's nothing permitting anyone to build directly on the canal or blocking the flow of water. So there's nothing like that. It's calling on physical planning to remove any structures.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yeah, Majority Leader.
On the 14,
yeah,
I think what this recommendation is saying that the Office of Drainage Services do collaborate with Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban with a view to carrying out the assessment of approval of those structures along the canal alignment. I think the canal alignment exempt from building on canal. And I know that Office of Drainage Services is empowered to approve requests to build along alignment. You have to get canal Office of Drainage Services approval to build clearance to build on alignment. If you have that, then the Office of Physical Structure will then approve of you.
If you have approval and the building is obstructing flow of water, creating flood hardship to the people, are we going to leave it? So allow them to call on them, let them face it, either approval or no approval. That is secondary. We should just call on them to fix it and carry out assessment of the structure. If truly is obstructing flow of water, then they should do the needful. I think you are repeating number 15.
6, 7, and 15, sir.
Huh?
6, 7, and 15.
15 is being repeated again, sir.
So we drop
6,
that.
7, and 15.
Yeah. So we drop those ones we have mentioned and adopt the rest. Honorable Tony Brown.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's imperative that we make a response to observation made on page 8, page 9, item 3, sir. Page 9,
What
item
have
3.
you been doing?
Mr. Speaker, this is a fresh one. It's not included in the recommendation at all. I'm just saying we should include it in the recommendation.
Which one are you talking about?
Where the committee observed that there is a house, a story building, encroaching on a canal setback. According
That's
to
what we just discussed.
It's been taken care of now.
Specifically, sir, they said on page 3, page 9, item 3, that the committee also observed a story building encroaching on a canal setback, which could cause hindrance to the contractor during the dredging of the channel.
That's what we just discussed.
I think we should make a specific.
What has been mentioned, Honorable?
It's been taken care of.
So who is adopting the rest? Honorable.
Thank you very much. I wish to move that the recommendation of the committee as amended be adopted as a resolution of the House. I so move.
Honorable Victor Akonde.
I support the motion as moved.
All in favor, say ayes. Those against, the ayes have it. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, after a long deliberation in respect of the bill of the reports, may I move that the House reserve to plenary. I so move.
Honorable Lumo.
Arise to second the motion as moved.
All in favor, say ayes. Those against, the ayes have it. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, at the committee of the whole, we took the presentation of the 6-man committee in respect of the environmental challenges in the state, led by Honorable Oshun Emu, who presented the report. Subsequently, Mr. Speaker, the report was debated extensively. Questions were thrown to the chairman and same were answered. At the end of deliberation, Mr. Speaker, the recommendations of the committee were subsequently amended, expunging some of the recommendations, and those not expunged were adopted as a resolution of the House. And on that point, the House reverted to plenary. Mr. Speaker, I wish to say that that's what transpired at the committee of the whole. Thank you.
Honorable Kasum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to affirm that that is a true reflection of what transpired at the committee of the whole.
Honorable Akonde.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the affirmation.
All in favor, say ayes. Those against, the ayes have it. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, happily we have come to the end of deliberation as contained in the other paper for today. And on that note, I wish to announce that I have the approval of the Right Honorable Speaker to move that this House adjourns to Monday, the 23rd day of this month at 12 noon. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Temitope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise second the motion as moved.
Yeah, thank you. Before the question is put, relying on the order 113 subsection 1 and 2, I hereby announce the selection committee, which will be chaired by the Speaker. Membership: Honorable Eshinokun, Honorable Agumbiade, Honorable Abiru, Honorable Jimo, Honorable Mosumala, Honorable Olowo, Honorable Ajani, Honorable Akonde, and Honorable Shokunle. Thank you. On the pending motion, all in favor say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. This House stands adjourned till Monday, 23rd September 2019 at 12 noon prompt. I rise.